Hello. Happy Arvo. Thank you for joining me today. How are you doing? Good? Okay, good. Today I'm kind of testing myself. 6 things we didn't know about Australia till we moved here. Well, I know, let's just say I scored an 8 out of 10 on the Ultimate Australian Knowledge Quiz. So, let's see if I know these 6 things.
You can do so much research trying to...
Let me shout them out, That Johnson Life. Go check them out. Johnston Life.
find out what it's like living in another country. But at the end of the day, how will you really know what it's going to be like? That's right.
Hold on. Okay. I had to make sure I hadn't already seen this video, because I recognize this guy. Go check him out.
You need some random pommygit telling you 6 things we didn't know about Australia until we moved. G'day guys, my name's Ross and I moved with my family to Australia during a global pandemic. The first thing we didn't know is you need to beware of the sun. When have you ever been scared of the sun? That innocuous ball of burning gas in the sky that breathes light and life into our otherwise desolate and cold planet. The sun in Australia is a completely different sun. It's the sun on steroids.
I believe it. I mean, it's probably even more crazy than the Dominican Republic. I went to the Dominican Republic. Here, we need to do a little research, okay? We're going to have to look up the equator. What the heck? Equator. We need to see. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay, so it's about that far away from the equator, and Dominican Republic is about that far away. So it's about the same. So I think that means it's similar. And my God, my skin literally, I turned into bubble wrap. I turned into bubble wrap in the first day. We had to buy 100 SPF sunscreen. It was as thick as, it was like, I don't know. It was as thick as Vegemite. Just lathering it. All right.
If the sun had a sibling that just wanted to watch the world burn, then that sun would be the Australian sun. Summer temperatures are absolutely scorching and can be in excess of 40 degrees centigrade. They're even expected to get more than 50 degrees by 2040. Thank you, climate change.
How do you even live in 122 degrees?
The UK thinks they've had it bad recently, while the rest of Australia just sits there rolling its eyes. Heat waves in Australia cause tarmac roads to melt and gum trees to spontaneously combust into flames. Okay, I'm not actually sure whether that actually happens. However, it's not just the heat in Australia that is dangerous. Everyone says that it's because the ozone layer in Australia is drastically thin, but I thought they fixed that. Now, I'm not an ozone
So maybe it's even hotter.
scientist, but I think it's probably got more to do with the fact that the Earth's orbit is elliptical, and it just so happens that during the Australian summer, that the elliptical thingy is closest to the sun at that point. Now, I'm not a mathematician, but closer normally means worse when it comes to fire. That makes the Australian sun pretty powerful. In Australia, we have the Slip Slop Slap campaign, which also now encompasses
30? That ain't gonna do nothing for me. Maybe you guys have some immunity from the sun or something. I don't. 30 would not cut it.
Can slide? Sounds like someone's weird bedroom habits, to be honest. If you want to stay safe in Australia, then you need to slip on a shirt, slap on some sunscreen, and something to a hat. Slap on a hat? Just put it on. When in fact, it should just be stay. Stay out of the sun or you're going to fry. The next thing we didn't know about Australia is that jaywalking is a crime. If I could just have it on its own.
I mean, it does get pretty hot here in Indiana, but it's different. It gets around 9. It'll get up to 94 on a hot day. But there's something different about the way it hits when you're closer to the equator.
Jaywalking was, and apparently it's illegal. Why did the chicken cross the road? Well, to be honest, that isn't the question. The question is, where did the chicken cross? You just can't cross the road wherever you feel like it. In Australia, the penalty for crossing wherever you want is about an $80 fine. If you get caught. Every year in New South Wales alone, more than 3,000 people on average are caught and fined for jaywalking.
Well, that pays a few cops' salaries, so there you go.
Billie Eilish even made a song trying to showcase this.
Wow, $80, that's pretty steep.
Problem.
I mean, I know it's AUD, so that would be maybe $50 here. But still, I think jaywalking ticket is $20 here. and nobody gets them. Nobody gets them.
when she sampled the crossing sound in one of her songs. Okay, no she didn't, but she just liked the sound because it's really funky. So funky.
I did know that. That was an old school video I reacted to about the sound of the, for deaf people at the crosswalks. Yeah, that's cool.
The rules are pretty simple. You must use a designated crossing point, like a pelican crossing or a zebra crossing. Is the zebra one the one with the stripy bits? Makes sense, I guess. If you can't see one, then you have to walk for miles upon miles. Otherwise, the police will jump out on you and arrest you. They're not going to do that, are they? Do you actually even know anyone who's been fined? I wouldn't want to be the first person that I know.
Yeah, I mean, 3,000 is really not that much in a country that big. It's not much at all.
So for now, I'll just be a super conformist and use the
3,000 a year.
crossing. Australia's super laid-back reputation doesn't really apply to crossing the road. It's probably one of the reasons
that's
why
weird.
so many Aussies get put off every year and insist on driving massive 4x4s around all the time. The third thing we learned about Australia is that there's more to life than just cities. Almost 90% of Australians live in cities. Absolutely massive ones. I'm even one of these.
I mean, if I was going to Australia, it would be about the outback. I mean, I would want to see the cities too. Canberra, Sydney. But the outback, I want to see the nature, the animals. I want to fight to the death with a kangaroo.
People. So it would make sense that Australian cities get most of the attention. If you were asked to think of different places on Australia, what would be your first suggestions? There are some really amazing places in Australia as soon as you get out of the major cities. Whilst we can all enjoy the
Yeah, look at
multicultural nature that a heavily urbanised environment can provide, if you want to see the real Australia, then you're going to want to go off the beaten track. I mean, not too far, because, spiders and snakes and that. Australia can be a dangerous place after all, but the more you venture, the more you get addicted to this beautiful landscape and enchanting.
I watched a video, man, that showed the ocean. I saw those blue nettles, I don't know, blue jellyfish. It got blocked, so you're not going to see me react to it, but wow. That looked horrific.
People. You may come here for one of the famous cultural icons, but you'll stay for the wonder of nature. Or if you're on a working holiday visa, you'll stay for the 88 days of regional work. Go and have an adventure, and then tell us all about it. No one wants to hear about how you queued up just so that you could take that perfect selfie outside the Opera House. If you're thinking about moving over here on a working holiday visa to discover yourself, or any visa for that matter, then you're going to want to speak to our friends at True Blue Migration Services. True Blue Migration Services are one of Australia's oldest and most trusted group.
I don't know if I trust this guy. He's got, I don't know. This guy looks like he means business.
Of searching for the correct visa to move over here, as well as all of the horror stories about bogus agents taking your money and then not giving you a visa. Moving over to the other side of the world is hard enough. So why not let True Blue Migration Services tell you about using assessments, help your dreams, about the wildlife. When you think of
The wildlife isn't scary?
Australia, what native animal haunts your dreams? According to most people
Maybe not scary to you.
who have never been to Australia, it's full of animals that have nothing better to do than to see you dead. The old-fashioned stereotype of Oz seems like it's never going to go away with these Australia-phobic scaremongers.
No. I'm not like Australia phobic. The scary animals make me want to go. That's part of the cool. That's part of the neat thing about it. It's like I don't know, some kind of crazy wildlife experiment going on over there.
Mongers. However, your time would probably be better spent worrying about other things like skin cancer
Yeah,
or spontaneously combusting gum trees. There are definitely dangerous creatures across the country, but the statistics kind of prove how safe the country is. Firstly, there are only 2 species of deadly spider in Australia,
And I mean, at the end of the day, we are the apex predator. Like, no, I'd take a fight with a kangaroo. We have guns, basically, at the end of the day. So I'm not actually like afraid, but I would be cautious. And I'd be ready to fight.
there's an anti-venom for that. The last recorded death from a spider bite was in 1979. Stingrays have only ever killed one famous person
Had to bring that up.
in Australia, and one unfortunate other person. The country also only averages
Wait. Stingrays have only killed 2 people in Australia? Is that true? And one was Steve Irwin? Are you serious? 2 people.
One fatal unprovoked shark attack each year, on average, and only 2 fatal snake bites. So do you know what that tells me? Don't provoke sharks and don't provoke snakes.
Okay, but how do you not provoke the shark? Like, how do you don't even see them coming?
Pretty simple rules to live your life by. If you're still concerned,
Sharks are definitely maybe the scariest. Snakes are also pretty slithery, and you might not see a snake either. You know, they're pretty, they hide in the crevices and they strike. But a shark, you're like, there's little kids screaming, they're splashing the water, you can't see anything. You'd have no idea when, I don't know. I mean, it's not like it's ever happened to me, so I don't really know, but I just feel like you would not even see it coming. Next thing you know, you are shark chow.
about all of these things, then just use your common sense when you're out. Works for most people. But the one animal I didn't know about until I moved to Australia was the magpie. For about 6 to 8 weeks between July
I did know about that.
and November, the magpies are out to get you. Hang on a minute, is that now? Okay, magpies out to get you is a bit of a joke, but magpie swooping
It's not a joke. I've seen the video.
isn't.
I mean, I've seen the videos, the endless videos. If you're riding a bicycle,
During the breeding
watch out.
or birthing season, basically when they've got little chicks, magpies in Australia turn into the bird equivalent of the esche. Actually, I think I'd probably be more worried about the bird. There's actually a website called Magpie Alert where you can see all of the live locations where magpie swooping is going on. Male magpies will swoop anything between 50 and 100 meters from their nest. The little psychos will even swoop harder if you try to run. The sadistic little bastards. The best
I need to see this. Magpie alert. Is that what he said? Why did I spell it with like... Wow, look at how I spelled alert. That's not it. Okay, you know what? I give up.
Best advice is to basically not go near the aerial dive bombers, or for cyclists to look like plonkers and attach little cable ties to their helmet. It doesn't actually stop them from swooping you, it just means they go for the cable ties instead, and not your eyes. If you think you can fight the magpies, you haven't got a chance. Magpies have been protected species in Australia for the last 30 years. Magpies 1, humans 0. And
That's
the last
ridiculous. I think self-defense should come into play there. If it's attacking you, then their little protection out the window.
thing we didn't know about Australia until we moved, but we've come to love so much, is the beautiful language. English might be the official language of Australia, but when you hear them talking, they might as well be saying something else. The basic rule is to chop off the second half of any word and add an O or a Y. It actually works pretty well. Arvo, avo, ambo, fiery, mozzie.
Fiery means fire, but that's an actual word. It's fiery.
Chippy, not to be confused with chips and hot chips.
Chippy is a carpenter?
If you love learning new languages, then Australian might be the next one for you. There are also some really weird words that I thought I'd never use, but now I actually love using them. Flip-flops are called thongs. I basically only like saying that to foreigners. If you want to go swimming, you might like to use a cozzy, or your
What is that?
togs, unless you like to swim naked. You need to fill your car at the servo. If you want to actually be able to drive it, you need a rego. And if you're still worried about moving to Australia,
What's a registration? A rego. You guys really made a slang term for a car registration? How often do you say it? Rego.
then don't be. Use my favourite Aussie slang, she'll be right. Gets you through anything. If you're still wanting to move, then speak to our friends at True Blue Migration Services.
Wow. That was fun. Yeah, what can I say? I feel like I mean, I knew a lot of these things. A lot of them were kind of abstract, more vague, deep dives into certain things like the sun. Anyway, that was fun regardless. Go check out That Johnston Life. Link in the description. Have a fantastic day. A happy Arvo. And I hope to see you again tomorrow. Because I'll be here. Thank you and goodbye.